What's up, everybody? Before we jump into today's episode, that was my phone. Sorry if you heard that. But before we jump into today's episode, as you can tell, the clarity for this compared to previously and what's about to happen is much different, which is a little bit of foreshadowing for what's to come starting hopefully next week in our next episode. But unfortunately, we messed up on some of the settings for this current episode that you're about to jump into. So forgive us for the clarity and the quality of the video. So it's not going to be as good as it's been and as good as we want it to. But hopefully moving forward, we will be able to have something as good as this. So just enjoy the content that we have for you. And we'll see what it's like next week. What's up, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of America's Dummies. That would be us. I am Kyle McClure. Joined with me, as always, is Mr. Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf, what is up? How you doing today?
Not much up. Just going level, Level. Not excited. Just down. Just
here.
Right in the line. But no, everything's good.
That's good. How'd you sleep?
I slept okay.
I didn't.
Not bad.
I got 5 hours of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was my fault, my own doing. I decided to stay up later than I should have. I was watching Hawaii Five-0. I love that show. It took me for a very long time to finish watching season 9 and 10. I've seen seasons 1 through 8 multiple times, but for some reason I can never finish 9 and 10.
I don't know how you watch so many shows. I can't do that.
I don't either. Well, okay, so for this will actually,
because it's not just Hawaii, it's Smallville.
Okay, I can tell you.
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory, Smallville. Okay, keep in mind too, a lot of these, especially the reruns, I put on in the background while I do other stuff.
How many times have you watched Smallville?
That's not important.
That's what I'm saying. I can't do that. I watched Breaking Bad.
Probably 4 times.
I binged it, right? Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
But that was it. I didn't have to watch it again. I don't know how you do that.
Well, like I said, it's background noise a lot of the times while I do other stuff, while I cook, while I clean up around the house, or a lot of times it's just when I'm done with everything, at the end of the day, I just put something on that I enjoy watching, and I just try and relax before I go to bed. Now, what I've gotten better at is reading before I go to bed.
Yeah.
So I like to do that, but I need to find, when it comes to reading, what I need to do is I need to find a balance between nonfiction and informative books, informative reads. Like right now I'm reading Jim Quick's Limitless, which is about how to change your brain through this process called neuroplasticity. To where you can literally change the connections between the neurons and the neuron links in your brain, and how you can use it to increase your focus, your mental capabilities, your memory, your studying, your speed reading, critical thinking, and all that, right? That's how to increase your ability to do that. So what I'm trying to do is find what was the word I used? A balance between reading something like that and then reading something that's more of like a fantasy, science fiction type to kind of help me dive into the non-reality of it, because that's what I did for the longest time, and that's what I still do is I watch movies and TV shows that are fantasy in one form or another to kind of just escape reality and let my mind just kind of wander and relax and get out of the stresses of this world.
I think that balance it's good. Obviously, information based on facts is something you want, but reading something that's fantasy will not only take you away from reality, but keep your imagination developed and doing stuff. Especially if you're gonna write a book, yourself. So.
Yeah, that's true. And one of the things, not to mention, whenever you read, I feel like you can get a better understanding of writing styles from fiction books instead of just nonfiction. Nonfiction, you're trying to portray certain information in a certain way, right? Technically speaking, so are your goal with the fiction, but with the fiction, you have more room to explore with different writing styles. You have the ability to kind of, again, let your imagination flow and let that imagination carry your writing style.
Yeah.
Whereas with nonfiction, you're focused on trying to write it a certain way to get this information at this point, and this point. Mm-hmm. Right? So yeah. I think that imagination is a big key, which I need more of. As a kid, my mom and dad might be able to say differently, but I feel like my imagination as a kid was lacking. I feel like I've always been the logical type.
You are very logical person.
And the
logical person.
Yeah, the fantasy part of it is a little harder for me.
See, I have plenty of fantasy. Growing up, I did crazy stuff just to see what happened, you know.
I couldn't do that. If I couldn't understand how to do something and the consequences that could come from it, I didn't want to try. I will say probably the most fantasy-based things I would do growing up, from what I can remember, is cops and robbers with my brother. That's what every kid does. I always like to be the cop, obviously, and like to be the robber.
You know what's a fun game?
What?
Manhunt. When the power's out. It's great.
Is that just essentially hide and seek?
It's, kind of like hide and seek. I don't remember exactly how it went. It's a little different.
When you catch the person you're looking for, you beat them up, right?
It's dark. you could. But when the power's out is hilarious. And, we did that in, Florida when hurricane came, power was out.
Yeah.
Had nothing else to do.
You and your kids, right?
No. When I was in Florida, I was in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
So that for the first time?
Mm-hmm.
When you're in Florida?
1998. Yeah.
1998?
Yeah.
Bro, I was born in 98.
Well, I moved to Florida.
Holy crap.
16 years old.
From Puerto Rico?
Yeah, in 98.
Puerto Rico?
But yeah, we used to get, the high school kids together and just big group playing Manhunt. It was fun.
Jeez. No, I could see how that'd be fun. Nowadays, probably not. But unless we have some tools to use, like airsoft or paintball.
Yeah, I'll do some airsoft.
Yeah. I mean, I still really want to do that paintball idea, that paintball business.
Yeah.
Where it's a lot like Modern Warfare.
We could.
That would be cool. That'd be fun. Anyways, so for those of you listening or watching us, also hopefully both, we don't have captions.
Yeah.
At least I don't. They might have auto-generated captions. Either way, that's beyond the point.
They do, but some of the words are not going to be entirely correct.
Yeah. So before we get started into more of the topic-based discussion that we want to bring up in regards to body positivity and fat acceptance, and how we believe, or at least I believe, that it is while it started with good intentions, it has morphed into something that is socially and culturally destructive. But before we get into that, we want to just remind you to go ahead and click the like button, click the thumbs up, hit the rumble button, subscribe to our channel, so that way you never miss an episode when a new one drops. And, I guess in order to do that, you have to turn off the notification bell.
Yeah.
Whatever. Either way.
Turn on the bell.
Turn on the bell, subscribe, like, and share this episode with your friends, family, and coworkers and enemies. That's the only way we can grow, is if you share this podcast, if you let other people know about us. And it's not for you and the people you share it with, this podcast wouldn't exist. So please do us a solid and share it with everybody you know. And without further ado, let's get into the discussion. But first, to do that, we need to define what body acceptance is, or body positivity, fat acceptance, etc. So I guess, Lone, you want to kick us off with what you were able to find about body positivity?
So body positivity, or what is being body positive, So it promotes the acceptance of all bodies, regardless of size, shape, skin. So the way I see it is like, everybody's different. We have different skin colors, different shapes, different ears, tall, small, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And to me, like, body positivity is a good thing. So I remember, like, growing up, some kids got bullied because their ear was too like this, called Dumbo and stuff like that.
Oh, I got bullied because of my fat. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
remember
too.
that. I remember that growing up. Yeah, people
So
nose, their ears.
yeah, in regards to that part, I think we should accept everybody as they are because we're all different, and nobody's perfect.
Except for Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior.
Amen. But one thing I would say is like the fat acceptance for me is I'm a big boy, right? And I'm not going out there promoting that, being 6 feet, almost 300 pounds is a good thing, because it's not. And I'm a walking, living example of it. I stand up for 8-10 hours. I get home, my ankles are hurting, my knees are hurting.
Now I will say your ankles, though, that does have a lot to do with your accident you had years ago.
I mean, it does, but
it doesn't help.
It doesn't help that I'm supporting that much weight.
Yeah.
So to me, that part of it it's wrong, and that's what I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, is when we were talking off camera, or at least off posted recording.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes work, which hopefully someday we'll be able to show you guys clips of behind the scenes stuff, with paid subscriptions.
Put that
We'll
out
see.
there.
Anyways, so I believe the body positivity movement and fat acceptance and the happy at every shape movement, I think that all started with good intentions.
Yeah.
And it just kind of morphed into something. Again, if any movement idea you have that is not based on solid principles that can withstand the test of time is bound to, again, shift like sand in the wind. It's bound to change based on just circumstances at that moment in time, right? Things beyond your control. And so I think it's morphed into something that, like, for instance, fat acceptance is supposed to be a social justice movement that is aiming to make the culture more diverse and inclusive and accepting of fat people. Whatever that means, I don't know, considering the fact that, that over about 2/3 of American society, 2/3 of adult Americans, about 67+% are overweight,
68,
with over 40% of Americans being obese. So I don't know how we can be more accepting, other than the fact that I think they're trying to say acceptance means you need to make changes in the way we do things for business and culture and society, and everything that we do needs to cater to fat people instead of just being acceptance, which is another term as tolerant. Tolerant, I understand. Accepting people for what they look like, or accepting people for who they are regardless of what they look like, whether they're fat, skinny, disfigured, doesn't matter. I think that is great. Yes, you judge people based on who they are as a person, not on what they look like.
Their character.
But unfortunately, it's gotten so bad to the point where people who are 300, 400, 500 pounds are saying, I am living my best life possible because I'm fat. I am happy to be fat. I feel great being fat, and everyone else should celebrate me and people like me for being fat, and that you too should be fat.
And that second part is where I draw the line. Like, you want to be fat? Fine.
Be fat, but you're going to have to face the consequences of that.
Yeah.
Whether you want to acknowledge
I'm not going to celebrate you either.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's your choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just like the pride stuff, trying to celebrate pride because you're gay. Like, I don't understand it. Why do we celebrate? I'm not celebrating the fact that I'm straight.
Yeah. And
live your life how you want to live, but don't force it on other people.
yeah.
That's the problem. Not to mention, whenever you're talking about fat acceptance and body positivity. So, again, body positivity has this broad and vague aspect about it, to where it encompasses everything that has to do with the body, which I understand. And it's about promoting self-love and self-acceptance regardless of what you look like, which I understand that's very big, that's very important. You got to love yourself for who you are, regardless of what you look like. But at the same time, it doesn't mean you need to be content with the way you look like if you want to be better and if you think you could be better. Because you got to understand that being fat comes with a lot of health risks, and one of the biggest ones is a shorter lifespan, which I don't know anybody out there who's trying to say, I want to live a shorter life.
No, one thing you said that made sense to me was the skeleton, our skeletal structure, and how having more weight outside of that puts more strain on it because the center of gravity is off.
Yeah.
And that made a lot of sense to me. That was pretty cool. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, like the skeletal structure is the core, it's the foundation, right? And then as you build onto that, you got the muscles and the tendons and the ligaments. Those are all tight-knit together, and they are close in surrounding the bones, and that's what helps us move. Mm-hmm. Well, fat, especially what's called subcutaneous fat, that is the fat that you see. That is what you are referring to when someone says body fat percentage, or what you're referring to when someone says, hey, look how fat I am, or look how fat that person is, right? That's what it's the visual fat, the subcutaneous, which is right there under the skin over your muscles. Right? So you could be one big strong dude and have some really big muscles, but based on your fat percentage, it won't see because it covers the muscles, right? Yeah. For instance, that's what everybody complains about when they can't see their abs. It's like, well, I can't see the abs. It's like, I have no abs. Like, no, they're there. You just have to chip away at the fat to get there.
Yeah.
Well, that fat, it doesn't conform to our body. It just adds on to where it is. So that's why the stomach gets bigger, and it doesn't necessarily spread throughout the body like your muscles could. And the more you put on there, the more strain it puts on your muscles and the more strain it puts on your skeletal system, because it's basically trying to figure out a good way to describe it in terms of visually to help people understand.
Well, I was thinking about like race cars.
Okay.
All right. Race cars are built to have a low center of gravity. The more that center of gravity is centered and lower, the better handling the car has.
Yeah.
So the center of gravity can determine first place or crash into the wall around a corner.
Yeah. Kind of like if you were to do a truck. Let's use a truck. The higher up a truck goes, the less center of gravity it has. Therefore, the faster you go around a corner.
It has a center of gravity. It's just higher. So
well, yeah. It's higher. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, yeah. Let's do that. The higher the center of gravity is, so the faster you go around a corner, the more likely you are to tip over. Mm-hmm. Right. Whereas the lower it is, the more stable your truck's going to be, so you can go around a corner a little bit faster. That's kind of the way it is with the fat. The more fat you have on there, right, is like the truck being elevated, right? So the more fat you have, the more strain it's going to put on things like your spine, right? It's going to pull your spine forward, causing herniated discs. It's going to cause bulging discs, which cause nerve pain, sometimes nerve damage. It's going to cause less mobility. So there's all sorts of things that come about it, which is frustrating. And then, of course, whenever you have issues like that, it's not good to, like we said, celebrate them. Because when you're celebrating being fat and encouraging people to be fat, you're essentially saying, hey, live this way, which is going to cause you pain. Mm-hmm. So, and there's a lot of people out there who are actually doing this. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and play a video for you guys. And it's funny because when I first stumbled upon it, I didn't know if it was real or a parody. Like, someone could have been taking a video of someone else and talking over it to make it seem funny, to make fun of it. But at the same time, these people can be this delusional and this crazy that they could actually be them. So, real quick, check out the.
I don't know. I can't make a decision on this.
Check out this video and let us know in the comment section below, or you can reach us at America's Dummies Podcast at gmail.com. Let us know if you think this is real or a parody, but check this out.
Welcome to a day in the life of a fat activist. I start the day off feeding my cat some treats because she needs to know that unless she's fat, I won't love her. Then I took a bath, because I am far too lazy to stand and need to preserve all the calories that I can for the day. Then I filmed some TikToks, making sure to glorify obesity and show everyone how cool and trendy it is to be fat. On my way to the doctor's, I stopped at Dunkin' and got the sugariest coffee possible and ate 24 donuts. At the doctor, I made sure he knew that I knew more than him, and I berated him over any medical advice or testing he wanted to do. After that, I headed to my yoga class, where instead of taking the class, I sat in the back and yelled at everyone, telling them to stop exercising and to get fat instead. Because being skinny is bad. Cheers. Stay fat, y'all.
Alright, so you see what I mean there by trying to determine whether or not that's real? Yeah. I have no idea. I mean, there are people out there that are just like that. For all I know, that is real. That is literally what she's doing, because there are people out there, again, with this movement, they're trying to say that being fat is great. It, like she said, it's a trend, right? It's, what are the words she used?
Being skinny is
it's a good trend, but yeah, being skinny is not healthy. Being skinny is not good. And stay fat, y'all.
What's crazy to me is that she goes to the doctor to tell the doctor. Like, why do you even go to the doctor?
Yeah. If you know that you're gonna go to the doctor and they're gonna say something about your weight, why do you go?
Yeah.
If you're so healthy, you don't need to go to the doctor, right? For instance, I when I turned 18, I didn't go. So I went to the doctor when I was 17. I didn't go to the doctor again until I was 21, and then I'm 24 now, so I haven't gone to the doctor since. Well, since before COVID, essentially.
It's been a while for me.
Yeah, I haven't needed to. I feel great. My health changes based on how I eat, especially mentally. I exercise, so I'm not in bad shape. And you know what's crazy? When I don't exercise for a long period of time, like when it comes to, let's say, 2 weeks or so, I actually start to hurt. Like aches and pains, right? Nothing to where it would require me to go to the doctor or anything, but like I need to start stretching. I need to start activating those muscles and working out, because I feel so tense. And I'm about to sneeze. Sorry, y'all. Hold on.
So
here, you talk.
As he works that out, one thing I wanted to bring up is the environment that we live in and food, like how toxic it is. Like a lot of the obesity problems. I still can't say that word right.
Obesity.
Yeah.
Obesity.
Whatever.
Obesity.
A lot of the issues is what we consume, right? And it starts at home. It starts, kids develop eating patterns as they're growing up.
Yep. I can attest to that.
And what we buy determines what they're gonna like when they're older. It's part of growing up, and they grow up with it. Also, these big companies too, like they're not doing us a favor by putting the junk food right in front of our faces.
But I mean, they know it's bad, but they're more worried about their bottom line.
Well, I didn't put his name down there, but it's called like the Bliss Point, and companies use that as a...
the Bliss Point?
Yeah. So companies use the Bliss Point when they're developing products. So basically, they make something that is going to release dopamine in your brain, and it's going to make you feel good, like you said, and you basically want it again. It's almost like an addiction.
So what do you know what the website was?
I'm sure I could find it, but I don't remember.
Moskowitz?
Could be.
Is that maybe a name? Hold on. I'm trying to figure it out, because that's interesting. But basically, so according to Wikipedia, which I do not like to use, but it's right here in front of my face, says the bliss point is the amount of an ingredient such as salt, sugar, or fat which optimizes deliciousness.
Yeah.
Is that basically what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and companies develop products thinking about that.
Howard Moskowitz.
Yeah,
that's his name.
Yeah.
Known for his work in creating soft drinks and pasta sauces, and refers to the point at which sugar, fat, or salt are blended to delicious perfection. According to the Sydney Morning Herald. This was published 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Could a hidden bliss point be threatening your health goals? Of course it is. Yeah, see what people don't understand is that it's more than just okay, so what's hard to get across to people is that your behaviors and habits with the foods that you eat, and yes, a lot of it when it comes down to our busy lifestyles, we're also busy just hustling, just going place after place after place after place after place after place, right? You know, if you're a parent, you wake up at 6 a.m., hit the snooze button, 6:30, snooze button, 7 a.m. Oh shit, I gotta get up to get the kids ready to go to work, or get the kids ready to go to school, and I gotta wrestle them to eat something before they go, or I gotta get their lunches ready, and then I can't cook breakfast because I gotta get ready for work, and so I grab something quick and easy to eat on the go, or I stop and I get my sugary Starbucks drink. I stop at McDonald's and get my McMuffin or whatever they're called. Yeah. Which, by the way, I tried years ago. I don't like McDonald's. I don't eat McDonald's, but I was working with my stepbrother and we stopped at McDonald's and I tried their what was it?
I know this story. The McGriddle.
Right? Is it the McGriddle, the one with the pancakes?
Yeah.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah. I liked because you can eat it, you bite into it, and you get a hint of a syrupy taste in the pancake itself.
Oh yeah,
which is nice. But anyways, I regress.
So everything you said right there about like our morning habits, Kellogg's took an opportunity and said, "How do we make breakfast easier?" Right?
Yeah.
And they created Pop-Tarts. Oh, there you go.
Brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts, the best Pop-Tarts ever created. If you say anything different, I will come through this camera and smack you upside the head. It is brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts. Okay?
And
it right.
There's his bliss point.
That's my bliss point. Nice sugary foods.
So, I mean,
that was my issue growing up. Is I love sugar and I love to eat and.
Well, sugar.
Coping mechanism was a coping mechanism of mine. Sorry, folks. Was eating foods. It's just eating, right? Eating to make myself feel good. And as an adult, I still do that because it's a habit, it's a behavior of mine, and I don't do any type of drugs or alcohol. And so my go-to is food. So that food is my drug. And a lot of that and it's crazy is I know how I'm going to feel afterwards, but I still do it, right? That's that mental aspect, that mental and emotional aspect that literally keeps people from developing good behaviors and habits because, I mean, look.
You're looking for the good feel, man.
I'm looking for the good feel. And
that's all there is.
What people don't know is that oh man, it's hard to describe. There's so many different ways you can go with this, but while we do need to develop good healthy habits and behaviors, the unfortunate aspect is that a lot of it comes down to decision, choice. And unfortunately, sometimes we do have these mental hurdles, emotional hurdles that keep us from doing that, and the only way to get better is to seek help. Right? You need to have a support group. You need to have a therapist, a personal trainer, a dietitian. Speaking of which, I mean, those are the people that you need in your corner to help you develop new habits, right? You didn't develop bad habits overnight, right? It took time for you to develop these bad habits, and it took time for you to gain the weight that you did, right? Whether you're 10 pounds overweight or 100 pounds overweight, doesn't matter, right? It took time to develop those. It's going to take time to undevelop those and create new habits and behaviors and to be able to work it off. And so the timing aspect is something people need to understand is that it's going to take time, right? And one of the things that I came across with in my research is this woman who is apparently a dietitian, but she's, I would say, either an overweight or an obese dietitian. So she was talking about how there's apparently good fatties, whatever that means. She doesn't make any description of what a good fatty is. She doesn't tell us anything about that. But
she talking about like good fats and bad fats?
No, she's talking about a person being a good fatty. I don't know what that means. but she was talking about being a good fatty, and she was like, fat dietitians are taken less seriously than thin dietitians, right? There's some, I guess, discrimination against fat dietitians versus thin dietitians, and I had something to say about that. Unfortunately, I couldn't say it to her, but
What? I'm lost. So what's a fat dietitian?
a fat dietitian is a dietitian or a nutritionist, right? Someone who prescribes nutritional diets or a diet for people who need to lose weight, or they have certain ailments that they need specified foods to eat. Like they have certain ones they have to avoid, like gluten.
The skinny dietitian is the one that brings a skinny person up?
No. It's literally, okay, let's say you're a dietitian.
Yeah.
You would, in helping people with their nutrition, right? Their nutritional lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
You're a dietitian, and then I could be a dietitian helping people with their nutritional lifestyle. The difference between the two of us, you're fat.
Oh, we're actually describing the dietitian.
Describing the dietitian.
I thought we were describing different methods of diets to lose weight or gain weight. As
those
far as
like keto, paleo, and
I specialize on bringing fat people down, and you specialize on
bringing
people
thin people
that can't
up.
gain weight, bringing them up.
No. So she was referring to people who are fat, being dietitians as a career. I guess that's a better way to explain it.
All right. I thought about that too hard.
Right over the head. But no, she's saying dietitians who are fat are taken less seriously than dietitians who are thin. Mm-hmm. That's a better way to describe it. We had to do a whole circus to get there.
I mean, I thought about it like that. Maybe other people would have too.
But yeah, she was basically saying dietitians who are fat are basically discriminated against and taken less seriously than dietitians who are thin. Because I was a personal trainer, let me kind of explain to her, who will probably never see this, why she is delusional in the fact that people should take fat dietitians seriously. And I don't mean as a person, I mean as in a career. And when you're trying, as a dietitian, part of your responsibility is to also motivate your clients. As a personal trainer, it's to motivate your clients. How are you going to be, as a client, motivated to lose weight, because that's generally speaking why you go to a dietitian or a personal trainer, if that person you hired to help you doesn't live by the same advice that they give you, right? If they don't live by what they promote, why are you going to listen to them? Why are you going to be motivated to do what they say? Right? You're not going to be 300 pounds and morbidly obese, and the doctor says you need to lose 100 pounds or you're going to die, and then go to a personal trainer or a dietitian that is in the same shape. And they don't say, oh, I'm working on this, right? I'm working on losing weight too.
I can see that.
It's like, well, okay, if I don't see how it's helped you, right? Like, there's a difference between showing clients, this is what I used to be, right? 10 years ago, I used to be 200 pounds overweight. Now, because of the nutrition program that I put in place for myself, and the same one that I ascribe to my clients, I am 150 pounds. I am fit. I feel good. I can move better. I am no longer at risk of dying. Right? That is a personal story that's a personal promotion, if you will. That is a personal testimony as to what you and your knowledge can do. But why would I go to someone who's 300 pounds? Yeah, here's how you're going to lose weight. It hasn't worked for me, and I'm not going to do it. I eat how I want to eat, and I'm going to live how I want to live, and I love being fat. So here you go. Why would anybody listen to someone like that and take you seriously?
It's like going skydiving with somebody that's not certified or something like that.
It's like, hey, have you done this skydiving thing before? No. Are you certified? No. What? Why are we? And then jumps out of the plane. That reminds me of, this is a little bit of a tangent, but that reminds me of these videos where you see people doing these bungee things, right? These bungee swings in the nature. Or these rides at like Six Flags or something, and the operator of it would be like, "Oh wait, hold up, something's wrong, guys. Let me check this out." And then they release them, or they go on it, and they start freaking out.
Well,
right?
yeah.
There's people. Okay, there's one, for instance, where these people are in a contraption at like some sort of Six Flags thing, right? That goes down. I think it goes down or up. But this guy's notorious for it, and you just see video after video after video, a compilation of him doing this to people. Yeah. And it just has one of these big ass shoulder things that come down, right? It's where it's I don't know what it's called, but it rests over your shoulders, and you grab it right here in front of you, right? And one of the things that he does is like, hold up, guys, sorry, I forgot about the seat belts. Give me 1 second. And he pushes start, and he starts to walk over there, and then it drops, and they're screaming, and they're flipping out because they think that they're going with something's wrong.
I'd freak out if that happened.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
We're talking about a dietitian giving advice when they're not following itself.
Yeah,
like,
so generally speaking, we go to trainers and dietitians to help us get in better shape, right? Mm-hmm. So why, usually in the form of losing fat and eating better. So why would I go or hire a professional that doesn't live or doesn't promote what they do, what they look like does not match what they promote?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's it. It's basically hypocrisy, right? Why am I going to... Now, don't get me wrong. As a personal trainer, I know firsthand that a lot of us tend to neglect our own nutrition, our own exercise programs, because we're so focused on our clients and building a business. And that is understandable. But at the same time, a lot of us can just change it like that, right? But if you're someone who's not focused on your own health, how can you focus on someone else's? Right? It's just like if you're, at the same time, if you're trying to get clients and you're desperate for money, right? They can feel it, right? They can feel that you're desperate, and there's something missing, there's something off.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the same way if you talk to someone who doesn't live by what they preach.
Well, it's like if you see an advertisement with her on it, with a picture or whatever, and then another one, and this person is actually fit. Which one are you gonna choose?
Yeah. And the unfortunate thing is the health risks that come from it. We shouldn't be celebrating fat acceptance. Period. We shouldn't be celebrating it, because over a long period of time, being fat will lead to more health complications. Mm-hmm. Right? More pain, more expensive health care, whether it's health insurance or literally you having to buy prescriptions, going to the doctor and things like that, and then it also leads to a shorter lifespan. So for instance, chronic illnesses are linked to obesity and being overweight. Chronic illnesses such as heart disease, so blood pressure and related issues, cholesterol related issues, so heart attacks, strokes. Not to mention there's a study that recently came out, I think out of Australia, that showed being fat and obese, either Australia or this Harvard one. But the study showed that being fat, especially over a long period of time, literally alters your brain. It changes your brain, because being fat also alters your hormonal balance. It alters your production of certain hormones. Testosterone in guys go down. I think estrogen is very similar to estrogen in women, but your hormonal balance is literally out of homeostasis. Your body can't reach a state of homeostasis, and so it's constantly trying, but it can't because of the fat is interfering. Right? So that is an issue, and it's not, you can't lose fat because of your hormonal imbalance. That it's because of your fat that you are in a state of imbalance. But one of the things is that
interesting.
If you celebrate this kind of stuff by pushing it on, by also pushing this kind of lifestyle onto kids and not focusing on what the kids do, whether they exercise, less time indoors, more time with kids their own age, and eating well, if you don't focus on that stuff and you just let them gain weight and weight and weight, kind of like what happened with me, is you're less apt to be socially involved. You are not going to be as active. You're going to be less energetic. You're going to be less productive. That will lead to a less productive society.
Oh,
there are.
It's already happening.
Yeah, I mean, and not to mention, it's going to put more strain on the healthcare system because we are spending on chronic illnesses alone over $1.5 trillion a year just in treating those.
Jesus.
And that's just going to increase the more we celebrate living this lifestyle, or the more we emphasize living a life that you want and enjoying the foods and stuff that you want in life based on gluttony, which is a deadly sin. That's a good way to put it. Okay? We are living life filled with our gluttonous desires right now in America. That's what leads to all these deadly, there's 7 deadly sins, and one of them is gluttony, right? So you are essentially, how do I best put this? You are, dang, I'm trying to find the best way to put this in a way everybody can understand. But let's just put it this way.
I do not know.
When you live a life in gluttony and you just stuff yourself with things that make you feel good, in this case we're talking about food, it's going to lead to your own death because you are unable to take control over it. You're unable to make different decisions and choices, and
well, we're all gonna die, but
it'll lead to
it'll accelerate the process.
It accelerates the process. Yes,
yeah.
It accelerates the process, and you're going to be in more pain because of it. Mm-hmm. And it leads to less self-control and less productivity in society. I mean,
one thing that I saw this morning that I wish parents did more, and I know the world out there is crazy.
Yeah.
But I saw this video of I don't know if it was big brother or dad. But the kid was just, it's summer, school's out, it's a nice day out, and the kid is just in front of the TV screen with his PlayStation controller. So they grab the controller, they put it down, they open the front door, they throw him out there, they give him a football and a basketball. He's like, here, be outside, enjoy a nice day. And, us growing up, like me growing up, I was outside all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we got home from school, we had a snack or whatever, and then it was outside. Like, we weren't allowed to be inside the house for some reason, but I guess mom didn't want to clean more. But it was we were outside.
Yeah.
Till the sun came down or you heard dad's whistle.
Mm-hmm.
If dad whistled, and to this day, if I hear that whistle, I know who it is.
Yeah, my stepdad's the same way.
But yeah, it was outside.
I see. That's the thing too. Is I did like to play outside growing up. I did like to play with my friends, for the most part. But there's also a lot of times that, especially moving around a lot and going to new school, not knowing many people, especially when everybody there grew up with each other.
Yeah. I can relate to
I
that.
made relationships through Call of Duty. That's one thing, and so one of the things I did all the time were playing video games, especially on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And I just ate to eat.
Yeah.
And a lot of times too, when I got stressed or anxious or upset, I would eat. And it's not eat chicken, rice, broccoli, right? It's gonna be your Pop-Tarts. It's gonna be your microwavable or oven pizzas, things like that.
Tostinos.
Oh,
pizza
Tostinos.
rolls.
Yeah, the pizza rolls, and then those little mini personal pizzas.
Those are good. Yeah.
I had those all the time.
The bagels are good too.
Yeah, I still eat those. I still eat those to this day. Nor not. And by the way, don't get us wrong. We're not saying don't indulge. Indulge in all this stuff. That's the word I was looking for.
I mean, you can consume it. Just
you can have your nice little indulgences here and there, but you got to have some modicum of self-control.
Yeah, it's like you told me one time. It's like, you can have these type of foods, but make sure it's not all the time. Make sure, what is it? You told me stay outside on the grocery store when you're buying food.
That's less processed, healthier.
And one thing you said was, and by God, exercise.
Well, just the fact of exercising alone, at least 2 to 3 times a week, will make a big difference.
Yeah.
And then once you start changing one meal at a time, right? You start doing 10 minutes of exercise a day. And then in a couple weeks, you change it to maybe 20 minutes. And then maybe 30 minutes. And at the same time, as you're doing that, you start with changing your breakfast into something that's healthier. right? You go from your Egg McMuffin or your... What is it? What was it called again? Is it the
McGriddle?
Yeah, the McGriddle.
Yeah.
Right. You go from your McMuffin or your McGriddle to maybe some yogurt in the morning, right? Some Greek yogurt, maybe then some non-fat Greek yogurt, and then maybe you step it up to some yogurt and some fruit, or maybe some fruit, and then maybe you step it up to maybe you wake up a little bit earlier and you cook some eggs and some turkey bacon or bacon if you prefer that. I like turkey bacon, especially maple flavored. That's good. But things like that, to where it's a little bit less processed food, less sugary, and you got your protein, and you got your healthy fats, you got your healthy carbs, things like that. You make one small change at a time, right? That's how you make a big difference, right? It's just like, how do you eat an elephant, or how do you eat a whale? One bite at a time.
And
don't actually do that.
Yeah, don't forget the discipline too, because that's where I fail. It's like I'll start with one small step, I'll increase, and then I go back to where I was. But it's lack of discipline.
It is, but at the same time, we're going to falter. So it's all about making sure that you accept, okay, I made a bad decision. I know I didn't want to do that. I know I shouldn't do that, but I'm not going to focus on that bad decision and think I just can't do it then, or it's impossible. No, by thinking that, you're limiting yourself.
Yeah.
So just change it from, oh, then I guess I can never change. I can never have self-discipline. Like, you know what? I made a mistake, but it's okay because I know what to do, and I'm just going to go right back to making a better decision today.
And that way of thinking, like, oh, I can't do this, and that's how people get stuck in there. Because you're basically telling yourself that you won't do it.
If you can or can't, you're right. I forgot who said that. But there's this crazy thing too that I did with my clients, is that if you, I tell them, put your arm out and resist my pressure. So go ahead and stick your arm out real quick. So resist my pressure going down. Okay. So I push down and I see how much they can resist. And then I say, okay, let's do the same thing. Say, I can't.
I can't.
Same thing. Put your arm out and resist. Say it again.
I can't. Oh, shit.
See how much further down your arm goes? And I put less pressure. Now do the same thing, but say, I can.
I can. What the fuck?
See that?
It still went down a little bit.
It still went down a little bit, but at the same time, you realize, well, what it goes there. When you tell yourself, I can't, mentally speaking, your brain tells your body, you can't.
It's like that
Therefore,
experiment teachers do it sometimes, where they have you put like a sticky note as high as you can on a wall.
Yeah.
And then they tell you, go higher. And you go higher.
Yeah.
Even though you knew you couldn't, but...
Yeah, you're like, what? I can't believe it.
Yeah.
That's the point, is whenever you have self-negative talk, you are limiting yourself. And your brain is telling your body that you can't. And your brain is going to reinforce that. Or rather, your brain is going to tell itself you can't do that, therefore the body reinforces it. Right? So you got to make sure that you have self-positive talk. And yeah, obviously be okay with who you are as a person and accept that you are the way you look, but that it's not who you are. What you look like is not who you are, and that you can change that. You just have to be willing to put in the work and the self-discipline and do that. Matter of fact, we're going to play a video, and this one kind of talks into the culture and society around, especially young people. But this is going to be from a clip from this podcast called the Whatever Podcast, where these guys have women on. Especially a lot of these women will be those that are Gen Z and young millennials, and they basically talk about things that are against the patriarchy, things that are about promoting self-love, third wave feminism, to where women, they need to get out of the oppression of patriarchy, and they need to be able to be sexually liberating to be their most fulfilled life and be empowered. And I will say that thinking that you are the highest number 10 that you can be is detrimental to your mental and emotional state, and is going to be leading you down a bad path. It's creating a false perception of who you are.
It's interesting because we just talked about how having a positive, encouraging thought helps you get places.
It does, and there is nothing wrong with saying I am a good looking person. I am handsome. I'm not a bad person, right? But there's also the extreme of it to where you don't face the reality of the situation, right? There's self-talk, there's positive self-talk and positive self-encouragement while also being rooted in reality. Right? But you'll see. Okay, let's play the clip, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
It's like saying my car's going to beat a Lambo.
Exactly. It's like, look, you got a nice car, but it's no Lambo.
Yeah.
Right? But here, that's a good way to put it. But go ahead and watch this clip, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Check it out.
Ask everyone to rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 10. So let's do that.
10.
Kiko, so okay, we'll start with you. Go ahead.
10. A fat fucking 10.
A fat fucking 10?
I mean, I'm just saying what everybody in the comments is going to say. Be like, oh yeah, she's a fat fucking 10. Be like, period.
Is there a comma somewhere in that statement?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know.
What was said was said.
Okay.
Yeah. I said what I said, and I meant what I said.
Okay.
Period.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
10. Answer
Were
stays the same.
Were you a 10 last time?
Yeah, I was a 10 last
Okay.
time.
Billy Ray.
Um,
We should have waited till Deborah was back, but
we'll come back to her. I feel like I'm a 6.7.
Dude, why the fuck would you ever say something like that?
Physically or overall?
Oh, I'm factoring everything in.
Really?
I'll take the 6'7". It seems like she's more down to earth than everybody else.
You don't want to take the fat fucking 10? Pardon my language.
Like I said, it's character and what I'm attracted to.
But at least the woman who said she was 6'7" was acknowledging her flaws. Yeah. She was being realistic, right? Mm. She took her flaws. She took her the positive aspect, her flaws, her what's the opposite of flaws? I'm blanking on the right word. Sorry, guys. I'm having a hard time with language today.
I don't know.
Okay, she took her virtues and her vices. She took her looks and she put them together. And she was realistic with what she believes she is. Yeah. She's gauging herself based on everything. While all these other women are just gauging it based on how they look, and that you need to be like, you need to just self-empowerment, self-love. You're a 10 no matter what. You go, girl. And you deserve the best of the best. I mean, these women will go on to say that they deserve a 6'4" man who's ripped in his at least 6 figures a year and is in his early 20s to or mid 20s, right? Literally,
they're stupid. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, they're literally putting all these. They're saying that they deserve all these high valued men, without also giving an example as to why they deserve them, other than saying, well, I'm hot. Well, really, if you're all 10s, then no one's a 10. I mean, I can tell you right now, the first two women, the woman who is thin in the white top, and then the big fat woman in the pink, right? I can tell you right now, they're not both 10s, based on objectivity, right? Objective beauty, right? There is some objective beauty in everything.
It is to the eyes of the beholder, too.
Right? But I'm not gonna go standing outside and be like, "What's up, ladies? I'm a 10. Come at me." I am not a 10. I know that, right? I know, but it's also one of those things. To the right woman, I will be, because she's gonna look at me holistically speaking. Like, for instance, that woman who said she's a 6.7,
6'7",
and then of course that other woman who said, "Why would you ever fucking say that?" Right? As if being realistic with yourself and believing that you are not a perfect 10 is somehow limiting yourself and degrading yourself. It's not. It's being realistic and knowing that you are not perfect. Being a 10 is stating that you're perfect. There is no such thing as perfection in this world. Nope. And it's going to lead you to a false reality and a false perception of who you are and what you think you deserve. Which, by the way, none of us know what we deserve. There's probably a lot of us that deserve to be castrated, killed, or lose everything that we've earned, right? There's probably a lot of us that deserve that. But it's through the grace of God that we don't get what we deserve, and he blesses us with what we feel we don't deserve, because he's like, that's why it's called a blessing. You earn and get what you don't deserve. We as humans are inherently flawed and inherently imperfect. So trying to state that you're a 10 and you should talk like you're a 10 and you should act like you're a 10 and you deserve the best of the best of the best without actually earning it, why are you a 10? Because I am. That's not an answer.
Yeah.
You're lying to yourself. You're trying to give yourself it's a false bravado. And it just doesn't make any sense. And that's part of the issue. Is it's about the body positivity movement, the fat acceptance movement has gone too far. I just think it's gone too far to where it's lying to women. Men and women, but women more especially. Because it's tied into third wave feminism, which is regardless of what you look like, you're perfect. Regardless of what you look like, you deserve to be with whoever you want. Regardless of what you look like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying regardless of what you look like, you are a good human being. You should love yourself. That's different. But saying that you're perfect, I'm sorry, but no one's perfect. No. And you should always be striving day after day after day to be better, whether it's physically or mentally.
And even if you do that your whole life, you're still not going to achieve perfection.
Only in death, when we go see our Heavenly Father after we've been saved, will we achieve perfection.
Yeah, true.
Anyways.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing that bothered me about this when I was doing this research, and I don't know why it bothers me so much, it shouldn't, but I like cooking with olive oil.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
So I'm doing research on, foods and nutrition and all this kind of stuff, and then I run, upon an article on Yahoo that olive oil is mixed with other oils. I'm like, what? So, when you go to the store, check out your olive oil, make sure it's actually olive oil.
If I get olive oil, get extra virgin olive oil, but I don't know if that's a difference. My guess is if you get like a generic brand of olive oil, or even sometimes maybe a name brand, they'll do to make it more cost effective. They'll take olive oil and mix it with others.
It is. I think it's based on the cost. Pure olive oil is. I mean, just the olive oil, even mixed with oils, is higher priced than canola or vegetable. But I thought I was using olive oil, and apparently I'm not.
Damn. So. That sucks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and sign off here. Thanks again for tuning in today. You know what? I forgot to introduce him. So if you see this at the end of the video, if you see this part of the video, please comment below and let Niles know that you see him, you love him, and he is a welcomed member of the show. I keep forgetting to introduce him, but say hello to Niles and comment below. Niles, you are amazing. We love you. You're America's cat, even though you're not living. But anyways, say hi to Niles, everybody. And thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to click that like button, thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the notification bells. You can reach us at YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Facebook at America's Dummies, Twitter at America's Dummies. So,
and don't forget to share, comment, let us know.
Share, yeah, and please share. That's how we grow. That's how we are able to give you better content. And we were trying to make this a shorter episode than usual, but I guess we got carried away. We just can't. It's like we try and put a 30-minute limit.
Today's going to be 30 minutes.
Yeah.
This video is going to play here, there, and it just doesn't happen.
Just does not happen.
No, we can go for hours.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe someday, when we offer subscriptions, we'll give you more content.
Yeah.
And there you go. We'll see. Time will tell. But all right, y'all. Thanks again for tuning in to today's episode, and we will see you again next week.
Peace.
Later.